perhaps you felt it. You speak, and the room does not listen. You strive, and no one notices. You stand before the powerful, yet they look past you as if you are air. This is not fate. It is a set of habits repeated daily that erase you from their vision. Remove these habits, and you will no longer be invisible. You will be unavoidable. You must understand something about the nature of power. It sees only what serves it. The powerful man, the prince, the ruler of your fate, does not scan the crowd in search of who is kind, who is noble, or who is nice. His eyes are trained for one thing: utility. He looks for those who can move his interests forward, who can fortify his position, who can feed his ambitions as if they were their own. If you stand before him offering nothing but your existence, you will vanish in his perception. Not because he is cruel, but because his mind is governed by the law of necessity. Just as a merchant ignores the beggar who has no coin, the powerful ignore the presence that has no value to trade. Most people make the mistake of thinking that to be seen, they must simply be there, present in the room, close to the throne, near the decision maker. They imagine that proximity itself is influence. But proximity without purpose is invisibility. You may be standing beside a man who controls the fate of thousands, yet to him, you are as relevant as the stone on the floor. The stone is there, yes, but it offers him nothing. The habit that destroys so many is passivity. They wait for power to notice them. They believe that competence will naturally shine, that their good nature will be recognized without effort. They are like candles in a sunlit room, present, but unnecessary. In the world of the powerful, there is no automatic reward for simply existing. If you do not compel their attention, you dissolve into the background. In my time at the courts of Florence, I observed men who spoke rarely, worked diligently, and caused no trouble. Men who believed that their silence and obedience were virtues that would one day be rewarded. They were mistaken. Their obedience was not rewarded because it was expected. Their silence was not respected because it was interpreted as emptiness. They blended into the scenery, and when decisions were made, they were not even considered. The powerful are surrounded by hundreds who want their favor. Each one believes they are worthy of attention, yet only a handful ever receive it. Why? Because those who are seen are those who prove themselves indispensable. They offer something that cannot easily be found elsewhere. An insight, a connection, a skill, a form of loyalty that is not merely loud but strategic. If you remain too agreeable, too willing to adapt to whatever is asked without question, you become like water poured into a jar, shapeless, formless, and forgettable. The prince values those who hold shape, who can stand as a structure in his court, not those who flow away at the slightest pressure. The agreeable man is not dangerous, and therefore he is not memorable. You must also understand that being interesting is not the same as being valuable. The jester is interesting. He amuses, he entertains. But when the kingdom is under siege, his presence does nothing to secure the gates. The man who brings the keys to those gates, the one who strengthens the walls, will always be remembered over the one who tells clever stories. There is a subtle but deadly habit that feeds your invisibility, thinking that your worth is self-evident. It is not. In the eyes of the powerful, worth is a currency, and it must be demonstrated, not assumed. A soldier's courage is proven on the battlefield, not by wearing armor. Your value must be placed in action, in tangible results that the powerful can see, touch, and use. The moment they perceive you as useful, you become part of their mental map. Your absence will be noticed. Your presence will be anticipated. But until then, you are an indistinct shadow among many others. Do not mistake arrogance for visibility either. Many try to force themselves into the sight of power by speaking loudly, interrupting, or boasting of their abilities. But the powerful are not blind. They can see through hollow display. True visibility comes from influence, and influence comes from making yourself necessary. You must be the one who delivers what others cannot, the one whose absence would weaken their position. Think of it this way. In the grand game of power, every figure is weighed on a scale of utility. Those who tip the balance in favor of the ruler are elevated. Those who tip nothing are removed, not in cruelty, but in efficiency. This is why you cannot allow yourself to be just another silent, agreeable, replaceable figure. If you wish to be seen, you must first learn what the powerful desire, then shape yourself into the answer to that desire. This requires observation. Listen more than you speak, but not out of timidity. Listen to gather information, to find the cracks in the fortress that only you can fill. In every seat of power, there are weaknesses, gaps in knowledge, threats from rivals, needs that are unmet. These are your openings. Once you identify them, you make yourself the solution. And when you are the solution, you are no longer invisible. You are indispensable. The powerful will not only see you, they will hold you close, because losing you would cost them. Until that moment, remember this: in the eyes of power, neutrality is nothing, silence is nothing, and mere presence is nothing. Only utility commands attention. If you give them no reason to look your way, they will never turn their gaze toward you. Silence is one of the most powerful weapons a man can possess. But like every weapon, it must be used with precision. In the hands of the skilled, silence creates mystery, forces others to speak more than they intended, and allows you to observe without being observed. Yet in the hands of the timid, silence is not a weapon. It is a cloak that makes them disappear altogether. You must understand the difference between the two. Strategic silence commands attention. Fearful silence erases you from existence. I have seen this countless times in the courts of the powerful. A man sits at the table of decision, saying nothing. At first, this can be interpreted as restraint, as wisdom. But the longer it continues without substance, the more it becomes dangerous to his own standing. The prince's eyes will pass over him. His mind will mark him as someone who contributes nothing. And the more the prince grows accustomed to ignoring him, the more invisible he becomes. You might think that staying quiet protects you from making mistakes. You tell yourself, if I speak less, I will say nothing foolish. If I stay in the background, I will avoid criticism. But this is a coward's bargain. The cost of avoiding criticism is also avoiding notice. In the realm of power, to be unnoticed is to be powerless. Even the appearance of hesitation can harm you. Powerful men watch not only for words, but for the force behind them. If you are asked for your opinion and you hesitate, they do not think you are weighing the matter carefully. They think you have nothing to offer. They do not see wisdom in your restraint. They see emptiness in your silence. You may believe that being quiet shows humility, but humility without a display of value is mistaken for insignificance. If your presence in the room changes nothing, if your absence would change nothing, then to the powerful you are already gone. Do not misunderstand me. There are moments where silence is your greatest ally. When your enemies seek to provoke you, when those around you speak without thinking, when the game requires that you withhold your cards. Yes, then silence becomes a shield. But in those moments, your silence must carry weight. It must feel deliberate. Those watching must sense that you are holding something back, that behind your stillness lies strategy, not emptiness. Think of the hawk circling in the air. It does not rush into the field at every movement. It waits, watches, and measures the moment to strike. But when it moves with precision and purpose. This is the kind of silence that commands respect. It is not the absence of sound, but the presence of control. The mistake that renders you invisible is letting silence become your default. The man who never speaks becomes the man no one thinks to speak to. His mind is never considered because it is never revealed. His thoughts, however valuable, remain locked away, and in the eyes of the powerful, what is unseen might as well not exist. When you withhold your voice out of fear, you are not neutral. You are surrendering. Every meeting you attend, every discussion you fade into, teaches the powerful that your words are not worth waiting for. And once they believe that, even when you finally speak, they may not listen, it is a dangerous thing to be present but irrelevant. The powerful may keep you near for a time, perhaps out of convenience or habit. But when circumstances change, when they must choose who stays and who is cast out, they will keep those whose voices have weight, not those whose silence was a shield against risk. To avoid this fate, you must master the art of timing your voice. Speak when you can move the conversation forward, when you can provide insight others cannot. Let your contributions be sharp and intentional, like a dagger unsheathed only when the moment is right. Too much noise will make you a nuisance. Too little will make you invisible. But the right word at the right time can shift the balance of the room. Do not speak to fill the air. Speak to shape it. When you offer an opinion, it should be memorable enough that it lingers after the meeting ends. The powerful should walk away thinking. He sees something others do not. He understands what others overlook. That is how you turn silence from erasure into influence. And remember, if your silence is to have value, it must be paired with presence. Your posture, your gaze, your stillness should all signal that you are engaged, that you are weighing every word spoken around you. This kind of silence draws curiosity. It makes people wonder what you are thinking. It forces them to consider you, even when you are not speaking. But the silence of the uncertain man, the silence born of fear of being wrong, does none of this. It does not invite curiosity, it invites disregard. The powerful will simply look past you, their minds trained to notice only those who shape their reality. If you wish to avoid being invisible, you must choose your moments carefully. Too much speech cheapens your words. Too little, and your voice dies in the dark. But when you strike the balance, when your silence feels like strategy and your words feel like weapons, you will be impossible to ignore. There is a habit more dangerous to your standing than even speaking unwisely. It is the habit of hiding yourself until you believe the moment is perfect. This is the vice of the cautious man, the one who believes that safety lies in invisibility, that fortune will someday find him when the conditions are just right. He waits for the tide to be in his favor before stepping into the water. He waits for the enemy to be far away before drawing his sword. He waits for the most certain of opportunities before revealing his hand. And so he waits, and in his waiting, he is forgotten. Understand this: the powerful value boldness far more than perfection. They themselves have taken steps into uncertainty, risked what others would not, and carved their position not through waiting, but through movement. To them, the man who hides is the man who has no use. He cannot be trusted in moments of crisis, for he will vanish into the shadows and wait for someone else to act. I have seen such men in the halls of power, men who speak of what they would do if given the chance, men who tell themselves they are merely biding their time until they are ready. But power is not a patient master. It rewards those who act when the moment is uncertain, who seize ground before others have even recognized its value. The man who waits for certainty will always serve the man who acted without it. Self-preservation is a natural instinct. Every animal clings to it. But when self-preservation becomes the guiding principle of your existence, it robs you of presence. You appear only when there is no danger, no challenge, no chance of failure, and so you appear rarely, and when you do, you are unimpressive. The powerful do not want men who emerge only in calm weather. They want those who can be relied upon in the storm. When the gates are under siege, when the enemy is at the walls, when decisions must be made without the luxury of certainty. That is when the eyes of the powerful are watching. If you are not visible then, you will not be remembered later. It is a fatal mistake to believe that invisibility equals safety. You may think that by staying hidden you avoid the arrows, the accusations, the failures. But you also avoid the victories. You also avoid the notice. And over time, you become not the man who avoided harm, but the man who never mattered. Boldness is not recklessness. It is the art of stepping forward with calculated intent, even when the path is not fully lit. Those who rise in power know that the world rarely grants perfect timing. They act when there is risk, because they understand that risk is the price of visibility. You must learn to reveal yourself before you feel ready. Readiness is a marriage. It recedes the closer you walk toward it. You will never feel fully prepared, fully shielded, fully certain. And so if you wait for that day, you will wait until your life has passed. The habit of hiding is often disguised as prudence. But true prudence does not keep a man locked away. It guides him in how to step forward wisely. The man who refuses to act is not prudent, he is timid. And timidity is invisible in the presence of the bold. I remember a courtier in Florence who had studied military strategy for years. His knowledge was great, his ideas sharp. But when war came and the city looked for leadership, he stayed in the background, certain the council would one day turn to him. They did not. They turned instead to a man with less knowledge but more daring, a man who stood forward when the rest hesitated. The bold man won the trust of the prince, and the cautious one remained in the shadows until his name was forgotten entirely. You must understand that action itself is a form of introduction. Each step you take forward is a declaration that you exist, that you are willing to stake your claim in the game. The powerful respect those who declare themselves, even if imperfectly, over those who hide flawlessly. There is also another truth: opportunity rarely announces itself twice. The habit of waiting for a better moment means you will watch doors close that will never open again. And when they do, someone else will be standing on the other side. Invisibility is not only about being unseen, it is about being too late. This habit of staying hidden until safe is the slow poison of your influence. It does not destroy you overnight, but over months and years it drains your relevance. You stop being considered in the rooms where decisions are made, because those in power assume you will not step forward when they need you, and in time, they stop calling your name entirely. The antidote to this is movement. Small movements at first, perhaps, but movements that show you are willing to step into uncertain light. Speak up before you feel fully confident. Volunteer before you know the full outcome. Place yourself in positions where you might fail, for it is in such positions that you might also be seen. Boldness draws the gaze of the powerful because it is rare. Most men cling to comfort. They build their entire lives around avoiding moments of uncertainty. When one man walks directly into those moments, it is impossible not to notice him. The powerful will forgive errors more than they forgive absence. If you fail in the attempt to serve them, they may still value your willingness to risk for their cause. But if you remain invisible until the outcome is certain, they will remember only that you were not there when it mattered. Those who lead seek allies who can be trusted when nothing is guaranteed. The man who hides until safe cannot be such an ally. He is a fair weather companion, useful in times of peace but useless in war. And uselessness is a sentence to obscurity in any arena of power. There is a mistake that many make when they wish to rise in the eyes of the powerful. They think that constant pleasing will bring them favor, that by offering unending flattery, by nodding at every word, by agreeing to every request, they will be cherished and rewarded. But the truth is far more cruel. Pleasing without positioning is nothing more than servitude. The powerful man has seen more flattery in a single week than most will encounter in a lifetime. His ears are thick with it. His table is surrounded by those who will tell him whatever he wishes to hear, not because they believe it, but because they believe it will secure them a place near him. To him, such words are not currency, they are noise. If you are only another voice among the chorus of praise, you will not be remembered. Your smile will blend with a dozen others. Your loyalty will feel no different from that of the man standing beside you. The habit of uncalculated pleasing turns you into one of the many, and in the eyes of power, the many are expendable. You must understand this loyalty is respected when it is rare, when it comes with weight. Blind loyalty, scattered freely, is not valued. If you offer your loyalty to everyone, it means nothing when you offer it to someone of influence. What they desire is loyalty that is both exclusive and useful, loyalty that is sharpened into a weapon they can wield. When you seek to please without aligning yourself with their true needs and ambitions, you waste your efforts. It is not enough to praise their decisions. You must position yourself as essential to the fulfillment of those decisions. Do not merely tell the prince he is wise. Bring him the information that proves it. Do not only praise the general's strategy, strengthen it with resources or insight he did not have before. The powerful man values those who ease his burdens, those who remove obstacles from his path. If your pleasing does not do this, if it is only a sweet sound in his ear, it will be forgotten the moment another distraction arrives. There is also danger in pleasing too eagerly. When you bend too quickly, when you agree too readily, you reveal that you are safe to ignore. You are not a force to be reckoned with. You are a decoration. And decorations, while nice to have, are not essential to survival. I have seen men rise in the courts not because they flattered well, but because they made themselves difficult to replace. They did not merely praise the prince. They tied their worth to his success so tightly that losing them would weaken him. This is positioning. Without it, your loyalty is just another shadow in the room. If you wish to please and be remembered, you must first study the ambitions of the powerful man you wish to serve. What is his greatest desire? What threats keep him awake at night? What rivalries consume his attention? Once you know this, you can craft your loyalty into something sharp and deliberate, aimed exactly where it will matter most. The mistake of the unthinking flatterer is that he believes his praise is enough to earn favor. But favor is bought with relevance. If you wish to be in the mind of the powerful, you must connect your existence to their victories. You must be able to say, without words, "Your strength is greater because I am here." This requires subtlety. If you are too obvious in your attempts to position yourself, the powerful may see you as manipulative, and in politics, perception is as deadly as truth. Instead, you must weave your usefulness into the fabric of their world so that it feels natural, inevitable. Your contributions should not scream for recognition. They should speak in results. The art lies in becoming essential without appearing desperate. When you flatter, do so sparingly, and only when your words are supported by proof of action. When you offer help, do not do it to be seen doing it. Do it so that the results cannot be ignored. Remember that power respects leverage. Pleasing without leverage is servitude. But pleasing with leverage, pleasing when you know that you have something they cannot easily replace, turns your loyalty into influence. You are no longer merely agreeable. You are dangerous to lose. There will always be those who think that constant agreement will keep them safe. They will laugh at every joke, nod at every plan, stand in quiet agreement in every room. And yet, when decisions are made, these same agreeable faces are the first to be dismissed. They are forgotten not because they were disliked, but because they were not needed. To escape this fate, you must ensure that your pleasing is tied to action, your loyalty bound to results. The powerful man must think twice before letting you go. Not out of kindness, but out of calculation. If losing you would strengthen his enemies or weaken his position, you will be kept close. This is the heart of positioning. Your value must be aligned with his survival, his dominance, his ambition. Without this alignment, all the smiles, all the kind words, all the eager service in the world will fade into the background. And when you fade, you vanish entirely from his sight. In the court of power, invisibility is not a shield. It is a sentence. You may think you are protecting yourself by staying small, agreeable, silent, or safe, but in truth you are digging your own grave in the memory of those who decide your fate. The powerful do not seek ghosts. They do not reward the man who hides, nor the one who blends too perfectly into the crowd. They reward presence, usefulness, and boldness, qualities that force their eyes to notice you and their hands to keep you close. Every habit we have laid bare is a slow poison. One will dull your edges, another will make you predictable, another will strip you of relevance until there is nothing left to remember. These habits are invisible not because they cannot be seen, but because they make you unseen. If you wish to remain in the mind of the powerful, you must carve your name into their world with your actions, your positioning, and your willingness to step forward when others retreat. Power does not drift toward the idle. It is seized by those who refuse to vanish. The choice, as always, is yours. Continue as you are and watch the game pass you by, or step into the light, knowing that the gaze of the powerful is both a crown and a blade.